What's up guys, and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I am going to give you my honest review for the Cabal Infinite Combo mobile game. Now, before I start with my review, I just want to mention that this is my first time playing this game. I know that this game is one of the most popular MMORPGs from back in the day. However, I didn't have a chance to play this even when this was played in personal computers. So basically, my review will be coming from a lens that doesn't have any nostalgic feelings towards the game, as this is more of a fresh perspective towards a classic MMORPG. Unfortunately, I already encountered a few hiccups towards this game before I even got a chance to log in. This is because it took me about an hour just to be able to log in and create my character in the game. The reason for this is after downloading the game, you are required to register an account using your email address. Very typical, right? Most of the time, you encounter this in every MMORPG that you will play for the first time. However, in this game, there are additional steps that you have to do before you can register an account. Typically, in most MMO games, you just need to log in your email address or Facebook account and you're good to go. You can immediately log into the game and start playing. For the case of Cabal, you first need to verify your email address, and the way to do that is to get an OTP or a one-time password that will be sent to the email that you are using. Sounds simple, right? The main problem with this is that I was able to receive the OTP more than 20 minutes later from the moment that I verified my email. And after getting the OTP and verified my email, I will then be directed to another page which requires me to enter my desired user ID, password, country of origin, and mobile number. Quite an unconventional way of creating an account in a mobile game, especially in 2024. It felt like I was creating an account from the 2000s where I need to fill up a form just to register an account. After logging into the game, I was surprised at the number of servers available. I mean, from the server list alone, you can already get a sense that this game is probably pay to win, as there are premium servers available in the game. But anyway, after creating my character, I encountered another roadblock, which is a PIN requirement before you can enter the game. So basically, you have to set your own PIN. This is because every time you enter the game, a PIN verification will be required. Again, this is quite unconventional, especially if you compare this to the games of this generation. I get that this is for additional security to your account, but majority of the time, the players who are playing mobile games are playing through their own mobile devices or personal computers. So I don't really feel the need to have this additional step when logging into the game. But it's just my opinion, maybe I'm just used to the conventional way of playing games nowadays. Now, the one thing that really surprised me during character creation was the wide range of classes available in the game. I really like MMOs like this because I have the option to choose from different classes, depending on the playstyle that suits me the most. After the creation, I was able to log into the game, and the first thing that I've noticed is the art style and graphics. It is similar to the classic Cabal Online from back in the day. I guess one of the main selling points of this mobile game is to bring back the nostalgic feeling from players, just like what its competitor is doing in the Ragnarok mobile game. From my perspective as a first-time player, the graphics is quite mid, meaning not really that bad but also not that great. It really depends on who you're asking. If you ask a long-time Cabal player, they will probably like the art style and graphics of Infinite Combo. However, if you ask a person that doesn't have any connection from the classic game, they might say that there are a lot of MMOs that have better art style and graphics available in the market. It really depends on the player's preference towards this game. Just like any other MMORPG, once you log in, you are greeted by a ton of tutorials, which in my opinion is good, because they should never assume that a newly created account is coming from a veteran player. They should always anticipate that new players will try the game out. When it comes to the user interface, there's nothing really special or new in the UI. This format is what you typically see in most mobile MMORPGs in the market. You have your movement wheel at the lower left side of the screen, the action buttons at the lower right side, the skills at the middle, icons and menu at the upper right side, the health and mana bar at the upper left side, and the quest and party list at the left side of the screen. However, once you click the menu and show all the other windows in the game, this is where you might overwhelm new players who are trying the game out. As you can see, there are so many things that you need to learn and understand when you play this game. At the same time, there are some terminologies that are quite confusing at first. I myself, who have been playing MMORPGs for years now, was a bit confused and lost with some of the things that you need to do in Cabal. There was a sense that there will be a huge learning curve when it comes to new players. Another thing that I've noticed is that the user interface is quite old. For example, the inventory window still uses different pages in order to see all the items in your bag. Typically, what most games do nowadays is that you can scroll through that window seamlessly. Although, maybe this is just a copy of the UI in the classic game. I'm not really sure since again, this is my first time playing this game. You can let me know in the comment section if that is the case. When it comes to the progression system, I was a bit surprised by this one. For the basic stats that you put in your character, there are only 3 available stats in the game, which are Strength, Intelligence, and Dexterity. I guess that's good because the simpler the stats, the easier it is to understand. However, when it comes to the skills, this is what surprised me the most. Because in this game, you don't really have a skill tree for your class. You get skills from books, which you can get from quests or buying them from certain NPCs. Another unconventional system if you compare it to other MMOs in the market. One thing that I can say about that is the skills are not really easy to get, especially when buying this from an NPC, because the amount of in-game currency that you need is very high. On the contrary, if you are a spender, this will probably be a lot easier for you, because I saw skills that you can purchase using the premium currency in the game. Moving on to the gameplay and mechanics, this is quite easy and straightforward. You have your missions or quests that you do in order to level up. You have your auto mechanic to let your character attack on your own. It has the typical mobile game mechanics that most MMOs have nowadays. Although, the thing that caught my eye is the combo mechanic in this game, which allows you to do multiple combos in the game in order to gain more XP and deal more damage to the monster. A combo bar will show up in your screen, and you have to manually click attack at a certain point in order to keep your combo up. It's quite interesting, but at the same time, I don't think a lot of players are doing this, especially since we are at an era where auto or AFK gaming is the meta. Another thing that I also like about the combat mechanics in this game are the skill animations. You can really distinguish a high-level character just by looking at the animations that the avatar is doing when fighting monsters in the wild. On the other hand, I find it weird that the game just gave out temporary equipment in this game. Those equipments are quite strong and overpowered, so it did give a huge boost to my character's combat power. The problem that I find with this is that instead of giving out overpowered equipments and taking it away after a few days, why don't you just allow the players to cultivate their own equipment? Make them feel that they are progressing in the game, instead of making them feel strong because of your gifts, and then after a few days, you will take those equipments away. I think this move removes the sense of progression of the player, because it sets you up really high, and then when the trial period is done, you will fall down hard. Maybe it's just me, but I didn't really understand the purpose of giving out strong trial equipments. You also have your dungeons in the game, where you can get rewards like the in-game currency, EXP, and rare equipments upon completion. Basically, in order to get good gears in this game, the best way to get them is through dungeon grinds, meaning you can run through a dungeon over and over again in order to get your desired equipment. There are no limits when it comes to entering a dungeon. However, this is where the problem lies, as there is a big divide from players when it comes to the dungeon system in this game. Because in order to get inside the dungeon, you need to have a dungeon entry or a key. Now, based on my experience, getting a key is not really that easy, as it will take you a lot of time and effort if you are an F2P. Even crafting the key is quite tedious, as not only do you need to grind for the materials, some of them you need to buy from an NPC. The main problem is, the items are quite expensive, so you really need to put the time in grinding the ALS currency in the game. However, if you have a lot of force gems, this is the premium currency which you can get through top-ups. You can easily farm a dungeon repeatedly because instead of using a key, you can just pay for your entry using the force gems. By now, you can probably figure it out that this game is a pay-to-win game. Speaking of currencies, this game is only using two currencies. The first one is the ALS, which is the normal currency that you get from monsters, dungeons, and quest rewards. While the second currency are the force gems, which as I've mentioned, you can get through top-ups. However, you do have to take note that you can also get force gems when selling rare equipment in the market. You heard it right, an F2P will have the opportunity to get the premium currency when selling items in the market. So if you're lucky with the items and equipment that you get in the dungeon, you can exchange them for force gems using the trading system in this game. When it comes to performance, I do like to commend the developers of this game, as the game is running fine in an emulator. There are a few frame drops on certain maps, especially those with a lot of players you see on the screen. But overall, the game was running smoothly in an emulator and I didn't encounter any game crash. The next one on our list is probably the most awaited question in this review. Is the game pay to win? The short answer to that is yes. The game is very much pay to win. From the Blessing Bead alone, which is basically your VIP pass in this game, and as well as the premium servers, you can already tell that this is a pay to win game, as using their VIP pass gives you a lot of advantages when it comes to your character's progression, although you can still enjoy it as an F2P. However, you need to put in more time and effort in the game as compared to the spenders and whales. If you're planning to become a competitive player, you will surely need to invest money in building your character. However, if you are just a casual player who loves the nostalgic feeling of playing this classic game, then you can enjoy it as an F2P. Overall, the game is decent enough to compete with other games in the market. The performance is quite good, especially if you are playing in an emulator. At the same time, the visuals will surely hit the classic players who loves the Cabal Online from the good old days. Although, I do feel like the game is not really enjoyable for new players who have no experience in playing Cabal Online. It might take them some time to fully grasp the in and outs of the game. The main problem with that is there are a lot of other MMOs in the market which are a lot modern and easier to understand. I think this game is catered to a specific audience, which are the players and fans of the classic Cabal Online. And that's it for today's video. Let me know your thoughts on Cabal Infinite Combo. Write it down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like, and if you want to see more game reviews, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. GG!
You're a superhero.